freedoms. You're not freeing yourself. How on earth can you be free outside yourself? You are a slave. Wake up. Look at the world, because the world is telling you where you are at in yourself. Yeah? You want to change the world? Change yourself, mate.
So you contacted me, Salvador. You wanted to have a talk about some, what do we say, messages, some information that you've got about what may be coming up in the future.
I'm trying to promote myself.
Yeah, and to promote your YouTube
Yeah.
channel, yeah. And of course, we'll leave all Salvador's links below the video as well that you can click on. Yeah, so I'll let you introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, my name is Sal. I like to be called Sal.
Sal, okay.
You know, there's a good reason for that. I used to be, I mean, my name is Salvador. And after I separated from my last wife, I went through a few years of in between. And then my new wife came along, my present wife. And I realized that if we want to be different in ourselves, then we need to change everything about ourselves. Everything that I had done up to that moment hadn't worked for me. For whatever reason, it hadn't worked. So part of the change for me was, I'm going to change my personality. And the way that I did this, metaphorically, if you like, was by shortening my name to Sal. So now I'm just Sal, and I like it. I actually enjoy being called Sal. And I can leave the past behind and be the new me. I've been the new me for the last 14 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's Sal. So I'll just say that I've done a couple of other interviews with other people, and they haven't gotten me nowhere because I talk too much. And they want to talk about themselves. I'm here to promote myself, but they want to talk about themselves.
I don't even like calling them interviews.
I
don't even like calling them interviews. I call them chats because, but yeah, the only reason that I have a chat to someone is to get your perspective and your information across to my audience. I'm not here to talk to you and tell you how good I think I am. So yeah, no, I'm definitely on the page there. So it's all about you. Yeah. Let us know, you know, sort of all the information and what's gone on in the last 14 years, how your life has changed. And yeah, basically what your message is. The floor is yours, mate.
Okay. Thank you. Right. First of all, let me start by saying that I'm going to be saying things which are a little bit weird, but I'm just an ordinary guy. I'm no different from anyone else. Apart from one little difference, which is that over a number of years, I have learned to totally, completely, and utterly accept myself with all my warts, with all my foibles, with all my inconsistencies, with all my little ego, you know, bits that come out of the sides. But that's okay. I'm okay. I accept myself as I am. And it is that acceptance, that love of myself, which has allowed me to move a step beyond the average person. And because I've been involved in healing since I was in my mid-20s, really, I found a new way of engaging in the world, which is by contacting something much higher than myself. Of course, when I speak about myself, I'm talking about my ego. we're all egos.
Yeah. Yourself. That's in the
The
word.
question is, are we,
It's like my self.
are we more than egos?
Something you have.
Yeah. So are we more than egos? And the answer to that is yes, we are. The problem is that most of us are enslaved to our egos. Ego is a part of our system. It's a machine-like part of our system. It is there as a survival tactic to help us navigate the physical world, to survive the physical world. And it operates in fear. And we all know about fear right now, right? 98% of the world is not a fear. The other day I watched, I'm going to digress. The other day I watched a video of these guys in America that just been out shopping, and they were at the car. Someone else was filming them, and they were picking up the items from their cart one by one, and they were spraying them before they put them into the boot of their car, just to make sure that there was no contagion. So, I mean, like, that is a typical example of fear. I felt sad for them. These people, they're in such fear that they feel so compelled to protect themselves to that nth degree. But the world is like that. 98% of the world are in a state of fear to a greater or lesser extent. But to the extent that we are in fear, we are enslaved. We're enslaved within our egos.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
We need to move beyond that. Yeah. So we need to move beyond that. And how do we do it? And we do that by, actually, it's very easy and it's very hard. We need to move into our hearts. We need to move into our feelings, where we begin by feeling love for ourselves. We cannot love anyone else until we love ourselves. It's, I love you, my darling. Myth. I want you to love me. That's what I want. I don't love you. I want you to love me. Yeah. So this is the myth of humanity, that, we love. We don't love. We just want to be loved. And that's okay. Yeah. But we need to start with ourselves. So we start by loving ourselves. And to the extent that we succeed, and love, is not just about emotions. Love is also about our minds, because our minds, we've got all this, and again, we can see this in the world right now. Like, you got the Muslims, you got the Christians, you got the whatever. These are people who have belief systems which narrow them, define them, constrict them, stops them from seeing beyond that. And that is problematic, because that affects us all. A person like that affects the rest of us. And that is part of the way that we are enslaved to our ego. So the ego is not just the emotions, the fear, it's also the mind that generates fear. It is the mind that says, you're a horrible person. I've got to keep you down. I don't like the way you spoke with the other person. You have to be different. You have to conform. You have to do this. We all have that going on in our head all the time, right? And we need to somehow free ourselves of the mind.
The monkey mind.
And again, we cannot do that, because we've only got the mind, and we've got the mind, and we've got the emotions. So how can we free ourselves when we've got nothing else? And of course, we do have something else, but it is beyond. And somehow we have to take a leap of faith to separate ourselves from our fear and from the limiting beliefs of our minds. But we know that the limiting beliefs are there to keep us safe. Because when we stray out of those limiting beliefs, we go back into fear. So it's a bit of a catch-22.
Yeah.
So people don't truly experience reality. Yeah. We're stuck. We're stuck in this place. We have to move. We have to free ourselves.
Yeah.
And that's the dilemma.
Because all the fears are not real. That's why we're stuck. We can't deal with them, can we? Because they're all up here. But yeah, sorry. Keep going.
So we're stuck in them. No, it's okay. No. Come in, please. No, you're right. So we're stuck. And we're not aware that we're stuck. But we're unhappy, we're in pain, we're in physical pain, because when the mind tells the emotions, don't do this, don't feel that, don't behave that way, and the mind wants to, the emotions want to do that, that conflict between the mind and the emotions, the battleground is the physical body. So the muscles go into tension, we go into spasm, we get a lower back, shoulder, neck, and it's all the conflict. Is the conflict of our belief systems versus the need of our emotions to express themselves.
Yeah.
So we're in dire situation anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I've been working as a kinesiologist, and I begin to find out that when I do muscle testing on another person, I'm getting information from the other person beyond just the hand wrangling. It's from my mind. I'm thinking something, I'm visualizing, I'm feeling, and the other person is responding to my inner thoughts. So this is how I begin the process of, hello, there's something else going on here. It's not just one body and another body just pumping their arm to see whether it's a yes or no answer. And gradually I realized that I am communicating with something inside the other person. Gradually, I realized that what I'm communicating with is the soul. Because if you think about it, what are you? Are you just an ego? You know, are you just a machine? Is there more inside you? You know, like, is there any consciousness within you? I'd like to think that there is. Okay?
Of course. Well, there's a saying, isn't there? What's that saying? You're not who you think you are. You're not who you think you are. You're who you, oh gosh, I can't remember it now. But there's a saying that says that basically, you know, you're the soul and with an ego wrapped around it, and you believe you're the ego, and that's sort of where we're trapped. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try and remember that saying.
Okay, so you're close. You're close.
I'm close.
Well, it's okay. No, you're close. No, not in that sense. The thing is, you see, that as a result of what I'm sharing with you about how I get to this point of communicating with a higher intelligence, I've actually been taught the whole science. Well, not yet. I've been taught part of the science. I'm still learning. I am a messenger in training. I'm not totally there. Okay, I'm just a trainee. I'm a trainee, and so I am being taught how the world actually works, how reality actually functions, the history of mankind, the past, and where we're going. And yes, I've been given a message. And so part of that is to pass on the message, but also to instruct, to share with other people what is the real truth, what is reality. And reality is that, yes, we're egos, and yes, we have a soul. However, I mean, you right now, as you, there is a fragment of a soul which is partially conscious. Now, for example, I don't know if I should do this, but I'm going to ask. I'm actually going to engage with Charlie right now with you, if I may.
Yeah.
Do I have your permission?
Yes, go for it.
Okay. So what I want you to know is, are you willing and ready to answer this question to do with level of consciousness? Okay, you are. Are you willing for me to say this out loud in public? Yes, you are. Okay. So my question is, what is your present, and this is not a put down by any means, what is your present level of consciousness right now? Is your present level of consciousness above 200? It is. Is it above 250? Doing well. Is it above 300? Doing better, 300. Is it above 350? No. Okay, so you're about 310, more than 310, 320 more, 325? No. So you're around 320. So your level of consciousness, according to David Hawkins' level of consciousness, is around 320. Now, that means that you are actually above the average of humanity. The average of humanity is around level 175.
Oh, really?
Which means they're in total negative mode. They're in total negative fear mode. That is the average. So you are actually one of the fortunate few who have, you've climbed from that level of total unawareness to partial awareness. And that level goes up to about level 550. So you're halfway there. So between level 175, in fact, it's really 200 and something. So between level 200 and something and 550, it is a place where you're increasingly rising above the parapet, and you can see the world a few moments at a time for what it really is. Okay, so you're halfway there. You're starting to see things as they really are, and the bit that's looking is your soul. Is your soul becoming conscious within you? When I say your soul, I am referring to the fragment of your soul, because we actually, this moment in time, the present moment in time is a fraction of time. And your being experiencing now means that you are a fraction of yourself. Your soul exists beyond time, which means that the past, present, and future is all one from the point of view of the soul. So previous lifetimes are totally immediate, they're totally present as far as the soul is concerned. Now, my soul is called Charlie. Sorry, no, that's my higher soul. My soul is called Eric. And the soul manifests through imagination, through the sixth chakra, through the subconscious. However, because previous lifetimes we died in trauma, in ignorance, in fear, our soul did not become conscious in previous lifetimes. And as a result of that, parts of our soul, fragments of our soul, are still unconscious. So here you are today, here am I, here we both are today, and our fragment of soul is partially conscious to a greater or lesser extent.
Yeah.
And that affords us the opportunity to work on ourselves, to work on our traumas, to work on all our pain, suffering, experiences from our youth, all the people that we haven't forgiven, all our hurts, all our senses of victimhood, our envy, our grief, our sadness, our angers. As we work on that now in this lifetime, we become more and more conscious. And the more and more conscious we become, the higher our level rises. So by the time you get to my level, well, in fact, way before, by the time you reach level 550, you're already beginning to connect with a higher level. So not just my Eric, for example, your equivalent of, but my Charlie, which is the soul to which my Eric belongs. So my Eric, my soul, spread across time is one soul. You're a fragment. Previous lifetimes are fragments. All of them together makes one soul. So your soul, the equivalent of my Eric, itself, even though it's complete, it's in turn a fragment of a higher soul. And this higher soul is composed of a lot of little Erics or a lot of little souls. And that is the one that I communicate with, the higher one. And it's the higher one which has all the information to do with the past, the present, the future, etc. In a way that, because that higher self is conscious, whereas my Eric is not fully conscious yet. So I'm relying on the higher bit, yeah?
Yeah.
So, and that is how I am able to fathom information which is unavailable to the average person. Because as a result of self-forgiveness and acceptance, I've risen to a level of consciousness where I am communicating now with Charlie, with a higher consciousness, who is here with me at any moment in time, although it's a different dimension. But nevertheless, the gap between dimensions is paper thin, gossamer thin. So and Charlie he's been working with me for the past 6-8 months to really strengthen the communication with us through my chakras. And so he's helping me to get stronger, to be able to have this conversation with you. I mean, a year ago, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation with you. I'm too introspective. I'm too into myself. I tend to keep away from people. I just wasn't that person, but I've been changing because I do have a message, and the message is to do with, you've heard this so many times, guys. The end is nigh. The end of the world is coming. Yeah, all right, we've heard that before so many times. 1984, 2012, 2018. The world is always ending. However, the world is ending as we know it. And this is going to be, you know what? I'm not going to tell you. You're going to have to look it up on my, you're going to have to search for it on my website. It's there. By the time in the not too distant future, you've got a few years, but in the not too distant future, in your lifetimes, the world as we know it will come to an end. It's not the first time. This has happened so many times before. Cataclysm, roughly every 13,000 years or so, there's been a cataclysm on this earth, and back to square one. Civilization restarts. And the problem, to be honest, our conversation, I can talk for hours. There's so much to say. There's so much to share. But for now, I'll say that when the end of the world is not the end of the world, it will be the end of the world for about 2 billion people or so, whose level of consciousness is very low. There's another 4.5 billion people. The world population will have gone down by then. I will share a pronouncement with you, which I think a lot of you can see it on the cards now. I was told quite a while back by Charlie that world population would go to a standstill within 5 years. So at the moment it's around 7.8, 7.9 billion. And in 5 years, it should have gone up to about 8.5 billion. But in 5 years, world population will be static at 7.9 billion. Within 10 years, it will go down to 7.1 billion. Within 25 years, it'll be down to 6.3 billion. World population is going down, and there's a reason for that. And you'll have to think between the cracks to find out, why could that be? Anyway, but the answer for mankind is to do with the raising of our consciousness. It is to move at least up to level 450 in consciousness. So most people are below 200. And we need 2/3 of population to go up to above 450. Now, I am here because my mission is within 10 years, we need 1 billion people. It's a tall order. Within 10 years, we need 1 billion people to raise their level of consciousness. We need, sorry, that was me.
That's all right.
I have to go and do gym later on, so that was a warning. So within 10 years, we need to go, well, I gotta keep the body going. Within 10 years, we need to have 1 billion people whose level of consciousness is at least about 450. I'll tell you why. Because right now there's so few. Right now we're millions. Okay, I will, at this, right, okay, Charlie, at this present moment in time, in the whole world, out of 7.9 billion people, how many people are above 450 in the level of consciousness? Is it more than 60 million? Is it more than 70? Is it more than 60? It's around 65 million people in the world. Out of 7.9 billion, about 65 million people have got a consciousness above 450. That's how dire the world is at the moment. That is why we have a collective reality of fear, because the majority, the people whose perception of the world is so narrow-minded, so fearful, they are creating reality. They are creating the collective reality. And I just put up a little video, which you may or may not have seen yesterday, to do with 5 dimensionals and Dolores,
Oh, okay. I haven't Dolores Cannon.
whatever her
Yeah,
surname
yeah,
is.
haven't seen it yet, but I'll have a look.
Yeah, and well, and a simile came to me that our egos are enslaved. 98% of the world population is in a state of slavery, and that is a reality which they are creating externally as much as internally. So how do we know we're slaves? We're slaves because we're enslaved to debt. Not me. I'm not a slave anymore. But collectively we're enslaved to debt.
Yep.
And we can now see it in China, and it's coming to the rest of the world. We are very soon going to be enslaved to technology. Freedoms? You're not freeing yourself. How on earth can you be free outside yourself? You are a slave. Wake up. Look at the world, because the world is telling you where you're at in yourself. Yeah? You want to change the world? Change yourself, mate. And, it's a bit like Dunkirk, like Second World War, all the British vessels, they all went en masse to get the soldiers that were trapped in Dunkirk. Yeah. And it was like, everybody went to do this to help them out. Well, this is what's happening, because we ourselves, we contain 1.5% true DNA of the true humans. We are second cousins, and we've got potential. As mankind, we have potential. We have the creativity and the potential to create our own reality, which we're already doing, not very well. And we're worth saving. We are worth saving. And the true humans are love. They exist in a place of love, and they're aware of what's happened. They've been keeping an eye on us, and they've come to save our bacon. They've come to lift us and to take us away to other planets. Some of those planets are with other true humans. Some other planets will be just without them. But it will be to a different level of reality, insofar as it will be one based on love, which we create. And it will be higher technology, but it'll be technology, not technology as we know it in China, which is meant to suppress and constrain us, but rather technology to free us from having to kill animals to eat, which we do. We need to kill animals to survive. Anyone who thinks otherwise is a fool. We need to kill animals to survive. However, their technology has gone beyond that by billions of years, and they can create all the protein, all the fats, all the minerals that we need. They have everything, and all of that will be there for us. And they've got robots which are intelligent, which are sentient, which can feel, which can communicate telepathically. This is technology not based on guns and shootings and controlling, but based on allowing us to fulfill our potential as sons and daughters of God, to be who we truly are, to experience life as it's meant to be experienced, with love, understanding, appreciation, acceptance, blah, blah, blah.
Nice. Well, yes, I mean, there's definitely a shift going on. There's definitely something happening. So 25 years, you said, is that right? That we've got?
Now you have to go and look at that. I'm not going to say, I have to say something. Guys, you're going to have to go to my website and look it up. There's lots of information, not just, look, I've got information about the aliens. I've got information about the chakras, how to help yourself, how to begin to work on yourself, to begin the process of growth, of understanding, of appreciation, how to awaken yourself to love, to your soul. I've got about health, how to take care of yourself. What is good food? What is bad food? It's not as we're taught. We're taught about healthy foods. It's all upside down. We're living in our Alice in Wonderland world. The world is topsy-turvy. The world is reflecting our reality, and our reality is one of sickness. We are sick in ourselves. We're sick in our world. We go to people to make us sick. You think you go to someone to help you be healthy? You're foolish if you think so, because your internal reality is one of pain and suffering and slavery. So what do you think you're going to find out there? You think you're going to find someone who, you're not going to find the Messiah. No one's going to heal you out there because you're sick in yourself. You want to be healed? You start with yourself, and you need to wake up. The world is not there to help you right now. The world is there to keep you in a state of slavery. That applies to medicine. It applies to food. It applies to scientific whatever. It applies to the thinking of what man is. Everything in our world is designed to maintain the slavery, because it's all reflecting the slavery within us. We are slaves within ourselves, the world outside, because we are powerful beings. We just don't know it. We are creating a reality of slavery. We are doing it. No one else is doing it. We're doing it to ourselves. Yep. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Time to change. Time to do something new.
And that's one of the biggest things, isn't it? Is self-responsibility, just understanding that, you know, we do create, you know, our reality. And so if something's wrong, like you keep saying, go look in the mirror. Don't start pointing and yelling at the world, because who was it? Dr. Wayne Dwyer said, if you start yelling at the world, you've then got to go out and change 7.9 billion people. Much easier to just change yourself, right?
Yep, you got it.
So there we go.
Okay.
All righty.
Unfortunately, I'd love to chat. I would keep chatting forever. That's true. Can't stop me now.
Well, thank you.
If you stayed and listened to this, thank you for listening.
Thank you for your time, Sal. And we'll leave Sal's. You've got a YouTube channel as well. Is that right?
Thank you for letting me.
No, my pleasure.
Yeah, it's
YouTube as well.
And cool. Sal March, salmarch.co.uk.
All righty. I'll leave all the links below.
That'd be great. I mean, and you know, right now I'm approachable. In 5 years' time, it may be hard to approach me, but right now I'm very approachable because hardly anyone is listening to me. So, so if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. Yeah.
Yep.
So anyone that's ready for me, I'm here.
Nice, nice.
I have to go. Thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to speak.
Not a problem at all. Thank you. All right. Thank you for your time and have a good workout.
Take care.
Great. Thanks, Sal.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.